Welcome! I am Sarah, here to do yoga, and I'll be tying in inspiration from this practice with the chapters in the Book of Mormon, Alma 53 through 63, tying in with Come Follow Me for the week. And while these chapters cover a lot, and at face value, there are many descriptions about contention and war, there's also a lot woven in that speaks to resilience and living intentionally. And that oftentimes the process of working from a place of intention is a consistent, small, and simple action repeated over and over again versus something big or something really grand as far as a big change. And we're introduced to these sons who are willing to go to battle for their families and who embody many, many characteristics. I actually took some time to write down some of their characteristics, and that's a beautiful tool to kind of see who and the type of people that they were in your own practice for journaling or writing down some ideas. But today's practice is going to focus on two little sections, and one is in Alma 56, where we learn a little bit about why they became who they were, and they soak in the space of perspective and gratitude, where they recognize that they became who they were individually by their mothers. And specifically, it wasn't that their moms taught them all the exact same things. I don't believe every single one of these 2,000 individuals was like a clone to another, but the core truth that they understood and that they carried with them was that if they did not doubt, God would deliver them. And they talked time and time again how they knew that their mothers knew that God would deliver them. And if you fast forward to Alma chapter 58, there's 3 verses, 10, 11, and 12, where they offer this tool that they clearly learned of how they learned this truth, this core truth. And it comes in their actual practice of prayer. And this pattern of prayer that they were clearly taught teaches them, first, that they poured out their souls. Second, that they asked for strength and deliverance without changing their circumstance. Third, they looked for assurances from the Lord. Fourth, they found peace in their souls. Fifth, that created an increase of hope and courage. And sixth, they were able to move forward in determination. And if we think about this pattern of prayer like a circular cycle, I think it's beautiful to notice that they began in humility of pouring out their souls, and then they asked for that strength and deliverance, and then they looked for it, and they found, as they looked for it, an increase of peace in their lives and an increase of hope and courage, giving them that action to take the next step. So this practice is a centering practice. It's a place where we can go in our day and however it looks for us to just get a little centered, get a little more open, that maybe can offer that next step of what our pattern of prayer can look like by taking the same pattern in our own lives. So we are going to start laying down on the mat, and we'll pull those knees in towards the chest and just take a moment to rock side to side. And maybe you've taken one of those words that really spoke to you in these chapters and bringing that in as your intention. And maybe your intention for this is just getting a little more present and a little more open. taking those legs up towards the sky. If they stay with a nice bend in them, that's completely okay. What we're looking for is creating length in the spine. We feel that tailbone rooting itself into the ground. And then we notice the feet have some flexion and they can also extend. So we're just taking a few moments to feel that flexion and extension of the feet. Noticing if there's any tension in the shoulders, letting it release. And maybe we take those hands like cactus arms. And then we pull those legs back in towards the earth and let the feet fall to the ground, knees to the sky. Letting those hands again come back to the cactus arms. We'll take a few centering breaths, just grounding and coming into the space, drawing that mind, connecting it with the body, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Coming into that 3-part breath, inhaling from the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And then exhaling from the chest, the ribs, back into the belly. Inhaling from the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And then exhaling from the chest, the ribs, back into the belly. One more time. And on the bottom of that last exhale, again, pull those knees in towards the chest, rock side to side. Now that we've added that centering breath, notice if there's a little bit more space in that rocking. Is it a little slower, a little more intentional? Now that we've taken that moment to breathe and re-extending those legs again, do we notice a little more connection? Maybe an ability to hold more stillness in the same space that we were in previously. Noticing how we can breathe through those sensations with intention. And again, folding those knees, letting them draw towards the right side. So both knees stay bent and we just let them fall to the right side. Extending the left arm, and we can take the head and gaze it towards those left fingertips. We feel an opening sensation from top of our shoulder all the way down into the left hip. And then engaging first from our center, we pull the belly in towards the spine, and then the legs follow, coming right back up, carrying themselves to the opposite side, dropping those knees over to the left, and extending the right fingertips, cementing that right shoulder into the earth. Just wringing out those sensations in the spine like a wet towel. And pulling those knees back in towards the chest. Extending the left leg and taking the right leg, grabbing underneath the hamstring in towards the chest. The right knee extending itself upwards towards the left shoulder. And then allowing that right leg to rotate out towards the side. Keeping that left hip grounded in the earth. Coming back along the diagonal, we can keep that right leg bent exactly where it is. For a deeper sensation, we can create a longer lever. And again, rotating out, either bent or extended. Folding that right leg in and extending it towards the earth. Left leg draws in towards the chest, again connecting through that hamstring and feeling that dynamic energy as we carry that left leg across the right side body. And then opening that left leg to the side. Again, feeling that centering place, whether it be cross or open. Coming back around, keeping it bent or creating that longer lever. Using that ball and socket joint, allowing the leg to open. Release, let go. Noticing those sensations as they come up. And breathing through each and every one. Working through the side, coming to all fours, planting those hands directly underneath the shoulders, curling the toes under, inhaling nice and long through that spine, and then exhale, round through the spine, curl, and create that cat-like sensation. And then release and find cow. Inhaling, opening and expanding through those ribs, and then exhale, rounding, opening up that space through the spine. And inhaling, feeling that oppositional energy in cow. Centering the spine, curling the toes under, and then gently lifting the knees off, floating table. Keeping that deep knee bend, we press back. Tiger dog, long extension through the spine. Knees as bent as we need them to be. Engaging through the breath, releasing the shoulders away from the ears, and just feeling that centering dynamic pull. We feel that blood flow change as we are now inverted with the heart above our head. And then extending those legs, adjusting palms wherever we need, and pedaling through the first downward facing dog. Lifting up your right leg towards the sky. Pulling the knee in towards the chest. And stepping the foot between the hands. Lowering the back leg. And then lifting up towards the sky. Exhaling, breathing those fingertips back towards the earth. Curling the left toe under. And releasing the right leg back towards the sky. Downward facing dog. Shifting forward on those toes and then lowering to the knees. Come all the way to the earth and lift up, gentle cobra. Exhale, pressing those palms, lifting the hips and belly, reaching back and finding your downward facing dog again. This time lifting the left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, pulling that knee in towards the chest, stepping the foot between the hands, lowering the back knee, reaching up. Exhale, pressing those palms towards the earth, curling the back toe under, reaching the leg back, and shifting into plank, lowering to those knees, all the way down. Inhaling to the sky. Exhale, palms, hips, bellies lift. Beautiful. We take that pattern one more time, recognizing the breath, inhaling towards the sky, exhaling that right leg forward. We could fold that knee down, or maybe we choose to lift and keep it lifted. Exhale, pressing those palms in towards the earth. Right leg reaches up towards the sky. And we shift ourselves to plank, kneeling or toe. We lower. If we're on those toes, no more than halfway. Shifting forward, reaching up in cobra or upward facing dog. And then releasing back, find downward facing dog. Beautiful. Left leg reaching up towards the sky. That left knee pulls in towards the chest. Kneeling or toe lunge. Exhaling, bringing those hands towards the earth and reaching back with that leg. Shifting forward, plank position. Can lower through, reaching up, extending through the body, and coming back into downward facing dog. We'll go through this sequence one last time, recognizing the breath per movement. So as the right leg lifts, we come through. You choose that lunge position that works for your body today. And then as you fold back into the earth, notice the exhale, shifting through the body, coming into that plank position, lowering to the earth and lifting up. Letting the breath guide the rhythm, the pace. Last leg, lifting up, folding through to that lunge position, extending to the sky, exhaling back to the earth. Left leg reaches back, centering through, lower and lift, coming back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. Beautiful movement and rhythm with that breath. Bringing those big toes together, soft bend in the knees, gazing at the hands, and we step or hop towards those hands. Releasing back onto the sit bones and extending the legs in front of us. And then rolling down one vertebrae at a time. So we could grab those hamstrings for added support. Please do that as the body speaks. Maybe we extend and work nice and slow. Each one having its own turn and place on that mat. Letting those palms open to the sky. Feet fall open in a natural place that feels relaxing to your body today. Taking that weight off, taking that pressure off, and just coming into the stillness of the here and now. Maybe coming back to that intention, that word or phrase that you've brought along with you today. Maybe it's coming back to that intention of simply centering, slowing down enough, creating space in our mind, our bodies, to open up that pattern for our spirits. And as we breathe in these next few moments, I'll begin our guided visualization with a quote that ties in not only from this last current week of 10 chapters in the Book of Mormon, but also in last week's as well. And as I talk through this guided visualization, I'm coming up to a seated position, but I welcome you to stay exactly where you are, or if your body likes to meditate and visualize from a seated space, you're welcome to go there as well. But take a minute to just take a breath. Think about your last 24 hours, how it looked, how it felt, the different experiences that were enveloped within it. And as thoughts of judgment start to creep in, just let them go. Let yourself process and soak in that it was exactly what it needed to be as it brought you to this exact place that you're in right now. Find the peace of being in this moment right now as I read these words to you. The joy we feel has little to do with the circumstances of our lives and everything to do with the focus of our lives. I'll read it one more time. The joy we feel has little to do with the circumstances of our lives and everything to do with the focus of our lives. Those words are by Russell Nelson. He expands on that even further in a beautiful message called Joy and Spiritual Survival. But in these moments right now, come back to those last 24 hours. Slow it all down. And ask yourself, what would you identify as what the focus was the last 24 hours? And again, without judgment, maybe just choose one word to sum up those last 24 hours. Looking back is a powerful tool in giving us the ability to create what it is that we want looking forward. And so in this next space, take a moment looking forward in your next 24 hours, not from a place of to-do lists, not from a place of tasks, but from a focus. And what is that focus that you want to create in the next 24 hours? Noticing those thoughts when they creep in of judgment or expectation. Notice those thoughts of beating yourself up if they come in. That's shame talking. That's not the vision of creation. Notice that slowing down and centering can open us up to a present state. Just choosing one word, one offering for your focus in these next hours. And let your breath be what draws you back to that intention. Inhaling and awakening that space and place, always residing within you. Roll those thumbs across the fingertips, wiggling the toes and working over to a side aligned position. Bringing yourself up to a seated place. Stacking those shoulders over the hips, heads over the shoulders. Let's join together, circle sweeping that breath drawing it out and up, pulling those hands in towards the heart. And one more time, as if you were taking that focus and that word of intention, that word that you've chosen for today, into the heart, into the mind, and into the spirit. The light within me honors the light within you. Namaste. Friends, my mindful invitation for this week is to use that tool of looking back and looking forward each day. Small moments, and it can be done in conjunction with that yoga practice we just offered right now, or it can just be done in a few moments of sitting, creating that stillness with the breath. But using that focus instead of a list or an action base to do, it can actually wrap the purpose behind all of those actions and give that point, that centering point and balancing space that I think can be a beautiful tool for recognizing that strength and those assurances from the Lord, bringing in that peace and that increase of hope and courage. So enjoy, take it with you however it speaks for you, and we'll see you next week.